Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this hypnosis session, in this episode of The Hypnotist, it could be one of the more unusual inspirations for a hypnosis session. And although I think maybe I've done one or two hypnosis sessions inspired by a dream, like a real dream, I think this is the first hypnosis session, and I haven't even recorded it yet. I'm recording the intro even before I do the hypnosis session because I want it to be very organic and flow naturally from me remembering this dream that I had. And it was a dream last night, and it's a lucid dream. And if you're not sure what lucid dream is, the best way of describing a lucid dream is that it feels like there's an element of control that you have within the dream, that you're making the choices, the thoughts are relevant to the situation that you're in, and that you can change where you are and what you're seeing and things like that. Now, I say partly lucid dream because it will become evident that it wasn't fully lucid because there was certain information that I had no idea wasn't real. So I'll explain. The dream that I had last night, I was living my life, and then while I'm crossing a road, it became evident that I had died. That in that moment, I had been run over by a truck or a bus. But what was interesting is that my life continued in the dream almost like a ghost. Now, I don't believe in ghosts, but this is a perceptual thing where I was still able to see, still able to experience, but have no interaction with the people around me. And if that lasted a minute or so, then I probably wouldn't even be talking about it now. But for the remainder of the dream, I was left with this overwhelming feeling that my physical body was dead, and I had the awareness and the perception of life and what was happening around me, but absolutely no ability or influence to change anything. And while I was living this dream, I genuinely believed that I was dead. And there was a few key insights that I got from how I was feeling and the thoughts that I was having from this kind of ghost that had died but was still able to perceive and think. And one of them is this idea of life is precious and you don't know when it's going to end. And while we all intellectually know that, in this particular dream, I experienced it. And it was a profound feeling of, wow, life really is short. So although it's quite a morbid dream, some would say a scary dream, I found it really fascinating and insightful. The other thing that was quite interesting about this dream is that I was thinking about all the ramifications of my death and how it would affect people in my life, knowing that they were things that they would have to sort out and do, and there was nothing else that I can do to influence that. And that gave me a real important insight of two things. One, tying up loose ends. And in life, it's very possible to have endless loose ends that it's helpful to resolve while we're alive. And secondly, the amazing power of a legacy. And through the lens of this almost like ghost-like perception, I was able to see the positive legacy of my life on the people important to me, but also the missing legacy. And when I say missing legacy, it's almost like a missed opportunity. Because in this dream, I wasn't anticipating my death at the age and the time that it happened. There are all these things that were just kind of like missed opportunities that could have made life so much easier for the people that were there for me. I think it's a very taboo topic to talk about death. I think most people don't like talking about death. They don't like thinking about death. And yet it's the one absolute certainty of every living thing that death will happen to all of us. And therefore I thought I would use this dream as inspiration to create a hypnosis session based on making the most of life, but also, bizarrely, being reconciled and ready and prepared for death should it come. It's a weird hypnosis session, I know, but equally, what's also quite weird in society is that we don't talk more about death, even though we know it's going to happen to all of us. People don't like thinking about wills. They don't like thinking about, arrangements. They don't like thinking about funerals. All these kind of things that are 100% inevitable. So this hypnosis session isn't really designed to deal with all of those issues, but two key issues. One, how to make the most of life while you're alive, which I think is a useful way of thinking anyway. And secondly, how to leave an impactful legacy. So even if you're not around physically, you're still having a ripple effect beyond your living years. There is no encouragement here to kind of schedule an appointment with me, unless perhaps there is one circumstance, and that is that if the idea of death is fearful for you or causes anxiety, there is a phobia called thanatophobia. And some people, and I've worked with maybe about 3 or 4 people that have had really severe thanatophobia, and it is an overwhelming fear of death to the point that it becomes detrimental to life. So if you have that, or if you feel anxious about death, or maybe you have some kind of terminal illness and you're trying to reconcile your own death, then maybe that's a reason to schedule a free consultation call, and we can talk about maybe if my skill set would be helpful for you in resolving those issues. But what I found really interesting in this lucid dream is that I had no fear of death, and I was able, in a very strange way, to accept the inevitability. My only frustration in my dream was that it happened before I wanted it to happen. But unfortunately, that happens to a lot of people. A lot of people can't anticipate the time of their death. Accidents, think of a car crash, think of, many accidents that happen. They're not anticipated. They happen, and then that person's life is suddenly not there anymore. It can happen to anyone. So this is really a hypnosis session to embrace the finality, but also the beauty of life. So find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in a calm, composed feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just release any feelings of worry, stress, or tension, enabling you to feel deeper and deeper relaxed. Breathing in a wonderful feeling of fascination, wonder, gratitude and joy, and releasing any feelings of stress or tension that's been getting in the way. And as you breathe in and breathe out, I want you to imagine a strange situation. I want you to imagine that you are living your day like any other day, making plans for the future, thinking about where you'll go on holiday, vacation, next summer, thinking about your to-do list, thinking about the problems that you have to resolve. And then I want you to imagine perhaps something as simple as crossing a road or doing something like just being a passenger in a car. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, imagine that your existence continues, but it becomes evident, obvious, that your physical body is no more. And maybe you can witness something, a car crash, maybe seeing your physical body laying motionless on the floor, but still with the ability to observe it, almost like you are in the body of a spirit, a ghost, an observer, able to hear everything, see everything, but not able to touch anything. Nobody can hear you, nobody can see you. And I want you to imagine your life in the days that would follow your death. Imagine observing the people that would be upset that you're not there anymore. Imagine seeing people see you, maybe at your funeral or maybe in some kind of situation where they have to identify a body, that you can observe other people seeing your lifeless body, and yet you can't talk to them, you can't communicate with them, you can just observe. And I want you to imagine seeing those people you love the most dealing with the aftermath. Maybe that's having to call up your bank, maybe your employer, to inform them, to go through the inevitable procedural things that just need to happen when someone isn't there anymore. Maybe certain accounts need to be closed down, people informed, maybe funeral arrangements. I want you to imagine you're just observing it all. I want you to imagine loose ends in your life that other people have to resolve. Maybe there's certain things that involve property that now have to be sold, or arrangements need to be made. I want you to think of things that you had started that you would never get to see finish. All those projects you started, the books you started to read, things you started to learn. I want you to get an overall sense of unfinished business. You would have loved to have finished those things, even if it was just to help someone else avoid the inconvenience of doing something that you could have done yourself. I want you to think of all the plans that you made that you never got to complete. What were the places in the world that you always intended to see, but in this perception would never see? All those things you were meant to do that you never got around to doing. And maybe there's emotions that come up for you. Being the observer, witnessing your own death, your own funeral. I want you to see the people who are sad, but also notice the people that you think would be ambivalent. Who would be there at the funeral and who wouldn't? Who are the people that would be bothered and emotionally affected by your absence? And who would just carry on as normal? I want you to get a sense of deep insight as you just observe the aftermath of your own death, with an overwhelming feeling of perspective. You've heard many people say that life is short, but this untimely death, unexpected death, caught you off guard. You expected to live years or even decades longer, and yet here you are, just a spirit observing the aftermath of your own death. Notice the emotions and the thoughts that come up, with an overwhelming sense that perhaps there's more that you could have done to make the most of your life when you had the opportunity to live it. I want you to think, as you remember your life, how much time was wasted in pointless arguments and meaningless grudges. How much time was wasted on insignificant TV shows or time wasting, maybe on social media. That now that there is no more life from this perception, there's an overwhelming feeling that you could have lived your life differently. I want you to think, if only I had another chance to do it differently. And you may recall the story of Scrooge from A Christmas Carol, witnessing his death and the aftermath of his death, but then waking up on Christmas morning with a new chance, a new opportunity, the ability to do things differently, that they thought they had died, but they woke up alive. I want your mind to be open to ideas and suggestions that could enable you to think differently of your life and your legacy. That if you were to live again, how would it feel to be fully immersed in the present moment, savoring each experience as it unfolds? And I want you to imagine doing that. Imagine waking up after feeling that you were already dead. Wouldn't you feel a deep sense of gratitude for the gift of life and the opportunities they present to you? Imagine being surrounded by the people you love, with the opportunity to share meaningful moments and creating cherished memories. When people have a near-death experience, in many cases it gives them a new lease of life. And sometimes they embrace their values as guiding stars, helping to align choices and actions with what truly matters. Some people have a bucket list, a list of all the things they want and desire before they kick the bucket. And maybe you have a bucket list and maybe you don't, but if you imagine all the things that you desire as a roadmap to adventure and personal growth, and feel how good it would feel if every week, every month, you were making progress of ticking off different destinations, different goals. Because some people believe that life is a journey, and every experience, whether big or small, contributes to you a unique story. And how would you feel if you weren't just able to live your life? What if you were able to leave a beautiful legacy for future generations? A testament to your knowledge, wisdom, skills, love, and contributions to the world. Some people coast through life in a meaningless haze. But what if you were able to feel a deep sense of purpose in everything you do? Knowing that your actions have a positive impact on yourself and others. That you are the architect of your own destiny, crafting a life that reflects your dreams and desires, enabling you to embrace the joy of spontaneity and adventure, allowing life surprises to enrich your journey. I want you to imagine seeing yourself fully engaged in your passions. Maybe it's traveling, or maybe it's creating, or perhaps pursuing your favorite hobbies and experiences. Life is short, and you acknowledge the power of kindness and love, both in giving and receiving. A gift to the world, but also a source of fulfillment, a gift to yourself. And maybe you can think of your life as a canvas, and with each day, you paint a masterpiece of experiences and memories. Life isn't meant to be lived away from the world around you, so imagine finding a deep connection to nature and the world around you, finding solace and inspiration in its beauty. Visualize yourself setting aside time for self-care and rejuvenation. Life is short, but you can make it longer by investing in yourself, good food, being more active, nurturing your well-being. And what if every day you were to appreciate that every moment is an opportunity to learn, grow, and evolve as a person? In life, there are radiators and there are drains. See yourself as a radiator of positivity, emitting love, joy, and kindness to those around you, leaving the world a better place than you found it. And you can embrace the idea that you are constantly evolving, and your legacy is an ongoing creation filled with compassion and wisdom. And perhaps you can imagine generations after you're gone, And imagine your life as a story, and you can observe people telling your story. A story worth telling and worth listening to, with chapters filled with adventure, love, and transformation. And I want you to imagine that, what if this untimely death was just a dream? And the very next day you awaken with a second chance at life. Would you do anything differently? Or would you continue exactly as you were? And allow that question to ruminate in your conscious and unconscious mind. And perhaps when you wake up tomorrow, the answer will be clear. Breathe in and breathe out and feel like you're returning to the present with a deep appreciation and gratitude for life, with more clarity on what you value from life, what your reason for life is, and the legacy and impact you'd like to leave behind. Breathe in and breathe out. Feel like you're returning to the present as you take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle those fingers, wiggle those toes. Feeling connected with who you are in this moment at this time. And very soon I will count from 1 to 10 to awaken you, and you will awaken feeling grateful, positive, guided, with a deep appreciation of the scarcity and value of life and those people in your life, starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.